And we're live. Thank you. Welcome to the Alignment Podcast. Thank you for coming. Tonight we have a special guest and a longtime friend of mine, Mr. Chris Widdop. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Um, I'm glad to have you on board. We're looking to have a good time tonight and have a plethora of topics that we're going to be throwing at you and so forth. Starting with some of your ambitions when it comes to film. All right. So, without further ado, we don't have any sponsors to shout out as of now, so we can go right into it, huh? So, we'll go ahead and make that play. All right. With that being said, let's get right into it. So, Chris, let's start from the beginning. What was it that influenced you to get into film for the first time? What was it? Was there anything specific that influenced you to get into film?
I mean, I guess I've just always had ideas for like stories and such. I've always liked film. I've always wanted to make movies of my own. And I don't know if there's any one certain thing that influenced me. It's just years of just wanting to make, movies. And then I just had that just, took the leap one time, went out and just bought a camera on a whim, wrote up a short film, gathered some friends around, people who could be actors, and help me out behind the scenes. And we just, spent a few months making a movie. And it's kind of, a learning process from there, and just taking everything we learned into, the next project and the one after that, But yeah, I mean, it's just a lifetime of, wanting to do it, really. So.
Got you. Well, let me ask you this. Out of your, catalog of all these projects that you've done, what would you say is your favorite?
Honestly, I'm not sure I'd say it's the best one, but I think my favorite one is the first one that I did.
The Red Scarf.
Yeah.
Red Scarf. Got you.
I mean, it has its flaws, its obvious issues, but I mean, I don't know. I like it. And I think it's the one that I can go back to and revisit the most frequently myself. Just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of dig what we did with it, like all the anime stuff and the music video type stuff that went into it. I don't know. I like how that one turned out. It was a fun project.
Nice.
Okay. So, how did you get into directing?
I mean, I guess I just, I have an idea and I know exactly how I want to execute it. So it's like, who better to trust than myself to, take that in my head and, make it reality, So.
I feel you.
Absolutely. So when it came to you filming the Red Scarf,
mm-hmm.
Did you feel after you completed it? Did you feel a feeling of let's say, this is what I after doing the Red Scarf, I know I want to do film. This is it. This is something that really, really pushed me into wanting to get into the film industry after doing the Red Scarf.
I'm not sure. And necessarily, I'm not sure like I got that feeling necessarily afterwards. I mean, I guess maybe like as we were like going along, and I just found myself like enjoying the process,
mm-hmm.
and just yeah, I mean, I love working on film, and I love as Suzette mentioned, directing. I especially love directing film, so yeah, I mean, I guess in a sense, it gave me an idea what I have a passion for and what I would like to pursue. So, sure.
Okay. So, where do you grab your inspirations to write these stories that you write?
Oh, that's depends on the story.
Okay, so let's see. Sia Nostra. Where did you get that inspiration with that?
Sia Nostra is actually not my idea. That's actually a friend of ours, a fellow collaborator, Cam Ray. That was
Killer Cam.
Yeah, that was.
Okay. So I'm going to have to get on Cameron and ask him that one. So then we go with Breathe then. How about Breathe? Where did you come with Breathe?
Breathe is literally, it was inspired by a very vivid dream I had, and some of the shots in the film actually are like, exactly, or more or less exactly how they appeared in my dream. So And that is how some of my films are envisioned. Just, sometimes, you get those dreams that are just like really feel real and intense, and just almost like a cinematic experience that you're, in right then. And, with Breathe, it was one of those instances where I woke up and I actually had to like write it, because this is good. I there's something here. And I'm actually I'm still working on like the short film, is done and out there, and you can, it's available to watch, but it's like we're not done with that story. I'm still, expanding on that, without saying too much, but it's like there's more to that story. I don't want to say too much and then, not deliver, but we're not done with that yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, having worked with you on that project, when it came to putting that together and utilizing the resources that you had, I was not there for all the scenes. Would you consider Breathe being one of the more difficult things that you filmed in your day, or what would you rank that as far as?
That was the surprising thing about Breathe, because despite the fact that it probably incorporated the largest like cast and crew that I've ever worked with on any project, it was probably the smoothest project I've done. Like it was
something.
Oh yeah, no, like it was the easiest one we did by far. And there was nights where it's like we actually scheduled it to be a 2-nighter, and not only did we finish it in one night, we finished early, and that's in scenes with like, like upwards of like 10 people on set, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of actors, a lot of scenes, and we just knocked it all out just in a way that you just never see, so Breathe, it should have been a project that took a lot longer to complete than it did, but that just, all the pieces just fell into place. Like that was, it was beautiful how that worked
out. Good. What about you had a film called, a short film I believe was called Dream Girl. What were your inspirations for Dream Girl?
That one was a little more inspired partly by like real life stuff,
or like a crush or something like that you may have had.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And just, it, inspired by that. And also, I wrote it during a time when like you and I were and some of the other people we had worked with were actually talking about like putting together like some sort of like an anthology, and like we want to like, pitch like shorts that would kind of go together for an anthology. So I was working.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it was this, it was one where it's like, the anthology didn't come together, but this wound up being, of the ones that I wrote, this was like the easiest to do, because it's like, I mean, this is a quick shoot. There's only like, 2 or 3 people on.
No dialogue either. No
dialogue. And that, I mean, that was a fairly easy shoot as well. It was very, very short and quick, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of based on, some, there's some, real life inspiration behind that, I suppose. And it is one where other people too have like mentioned as like, it's one of my more relatable ones to them, because so I guess it has a fairly universal type of message. Everybody's been through that sort of thing, pining over somebody they can't have, and then learning to.
Absolutely, we've all been there. We've all been there. Absolutely. Well, going into one that you were a part of but not on screen, the Valentine's Day special that
yeah.
So what were your thoughts on that one? That was a very interesting project as well. That was actually done for a friend of ours, for a young lady he was speaking to at the time. So we kind of put that together. I was pretty proud of how it turned out. That was one of our earlier films as well.
Oh yeah, no, I really dig how that turned out. I thought it was really cool, especially like an example of like how sometimes something not working out leads to a better thing. Like all the scenes with Rashad, where he's doing like his dance
move. Yeah,
it was supposed to be filmed in one location, which it wasn't the best location, and we weren't able to get far before they kind of shut things down and kicked us out. But it for the better, because we found a far better looking location that has far more of a cinematic feel. Just it is like, and then I got him that fancy little hat he wore. And
the fedora.
oh yeah, you're wearing this, and he pulled it off, and yeah, that was just, I don't know, I really dug how that one turned out. That was another just, an interesting shoot. Getting everyone together.
Yeah.
And it all came together relatively quick and easy too. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that one. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Cameron calls Rashad, I believe, the Tallahassee Tay Diggs. So, yeah. So, when it comes to shooting that, I personally, this is one thing. I don't know if I've said this to you guys yet, but one film that I do want to do that's on my radar, I want to do, and this might sound cheesy, I want to do a really good romance movie.
Okay.
I want to always put together a really good romance movie. That is on my bucket list when it comes to film. One of these days, I'm gonna do. It's gonna be like you guys familiar with the film Love Actually or Valentine's Day, things along those lines, type of thing. I want something along those lines.
Well, knowing what you're into, I'm curious what a Thomas Curry romance film is.
Uh-huh.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So there was. What about? Let's go to one of the more recent projects, which was I think in relations to your comic book. Kip. Yeah. You had a short film about that I thought was really done really well. The costumes that I saw you get your hands on, I was very surprised. And I know you've been writing the Ninja Cat for years now, and that seems to be more something that you focused on. Even some would say even more than actually the film stuff. And seeing you bring that cinematic to life in one of your short films, what were your thoughts about that project overall?
Oh, I'm very pleased with how that one turned out. I thought that the fact that we used all practicals, and in addition with the light and everything, there's certainly shots in there that are reminiscent to things you would have seen in the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. By design, I'm very glad that we were able to capture that. No, that was really cool, because it's it's technically an adaptation of a storyline from the book, but it's not it's not shown exactly how it plays out in the book. Technically, this is a storyline that plays out over the course of at least 3 of the books, but we just really, really condensed it down. And I mean, the books, I have a lot more, freedom to expand. I'm not working on a budget, so in the books, it's like a really big, grand fantasy, scene playing out. It's like almost something like our Lord of the Rings or something. But so it's we didn't quite, reach that scope, but we were still able to tell the same story on maybe a smaller scale. One of the people who worked on the project, M.H. Smith, he recently, he's reading the Ninja Cat books right now. He was just impressed with how we were able to condense it down for the film, and just really tighten the story up, without really losing too much. Mm-hmm. And I'm pleased with how it turned out. So, yeah, I would say it's probably after The Red Scarf is my favorite one. So,
got you.
Yeah,
ranked pretty high up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and forward in the future, I mean, I'd certainly like to do more with the Ninja Cat in live action. But
okay.
Working with costuming of that nature, that's budget stuff. Budget stuff. So
absolutely.
So you were doing a short with Andre, I believe, not so innocent. How did you enjoy doing that show?
Yeah, that was a web series that we did. I wasn't there for a lot of it. I was there for a few shoots. It was an experience. I mean, overall, it we ran into a lot of issues that that you do on no budget productions.
Mm-hmm.
It was certainly this was his first. This was Andre's first film production at that. So
I sympathize. I sympathize.
He was very, very ambitious, particularly it's also a production. So I mean, all that considered, all the hiccups that come with that, it I would say it turned out about as good as we could have expected it.
Right.
So I mean, of course, you always watch a project afterwards and you think it could have turned out better, but he spent, I want to say we spent about like 2 years on that one, about a year of production or so.
About 2 years. So you spent 2 years on the project overall?
Yeah. I mean, writing might have been longer, but with production and post-production, it was a long process of trying to gather the same actors over and over again. We've all been there. We know how that goes. And
yes, indeed we have. So. Yes, indeed we have. Tell us a little bit about your character, and Not So Innocent, because your character, I think opened up with your character, if I remember correctly.
It did, and what was interesting is that in the opening credit sequence, even though I'm just a minor character who only appears in like 3 episodes, I'm the top billed actor for some reason. But yeah, my character, I mean, like, I think I've been typecast as this character in a number of things. A few people have cast me as like, the silent assassin type. And that's to an extent. He's not like an assassin. He's like he put up to this situation against his will. He's basically being I don't want to say blackmailed, but he's not doing, like, he's doing something he doesn't want to be doing, and I think it was it worked out well, I think.
I remember watching it on YouTube one night. I was actually laying in bed one night and I was looking at all like little short films, and I remember watching it. My uncle's in it, Kevin Bronson. He's in it. My uncle's in it. And of course, Angela is also in it. She worked with us on Original Death, so she was in it. So I know I wanted to support. And I was, quite intrigued. I was a little bit, perturbed by seeing you go out kicking and screaming with a group of other people in an exploding building.
My character wasn't in the exploding building.
Oh, you escaped?
Yeah, it wasn't made too clear because we weren't able to film all of the scenes.
Okay.
But yeah, my character was actually ran up and saved Angela's character.
Okay.
At the near the very end, and I was supposed to save one of the other characters, but we weren't able to get to that. But I mean, it would have been interesting if there was intentions for there to be like a sequel season, but I'm not sure if that's still happening or not. You never know these things. This one took as long as it did, So I think Andre after that wanted to just take a break and work on other things for a while.
So. And I was when I was following it, I was intrigued by the idea of what was going on with the young lady. She I think she had some type of like demon angel or something in her, and or alien angel or something like that. And
I think they were supposed to be aliens or something.
Yeah, and she and her group of I guess accomplices were taking on a gentleman who had a legendary version of said character, of said creature.
Yes.
And I love seeing low budget projects like that and seeing them finished. You know what I mean? Because it's very difficult to film projects and didn't get them completed, let alone get on YouTube. God knows how many projects me and you have done and have never seen the light of day.
That's true.
Never seen the light of day. So yeah, I am happy to see him complete what he did, and hopefully we get to see more. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he's done more since then. He got on a short film after that. it was like a horror film about like a haunted app or something.
Okay.
I haven't been in too much communication with him since then. I don't know what he's working on these days, but I'd hope he's working on something. So,
Are you going to give your fans? I'm asking this. Are you going to give your fans a sequel to Sia Nostra?
Well, are you asking as a fan?
You know what? Listen. I know Suzette. Suzette said she didn't understand it.
Yes, somebody explain it to me what was going on.
I enjoyed the quirkiness of it.
It was good, but I just didn't know what was going on. I was like, I text Thomas and I was like, what is this about? I'm confused. I liked it a lot, but I didn't know what was going on.
Could you elaborate on the idea of the project, Chris?
Well, it's Cam's like a baby, and it's basically like Sia Nostra was supposed to act as like a sort of like a pilot to something much more expansive, and it's sort of like a Sia Nostra is kind of like an alien girl, but she's like the first one, like she's the first one we're introduced to, but there's more of them around, and we're, as the series would expand for them, and then like it's this expanded universe, and we just started off small, and the idea was to build up from there, and it's sort of like it's supposed to be kind of like inspired by like those quirky comedy
rom-com type of things,
sort of, yeah. It was supposed to be inspired by something like that. I'm not sure. Like obviously the ideas are out there, and Cam certainly got the ideas. I'm not sure how he feels about doing more. He seemed to think that it was kind of weird seeing his idea come to life on film. He's kind of
explain that to us, because I'm damn sure going to ask him when I do the interview with him. What he thought about it. What when you asked him once you finished the project, you said, "Cam, well, here it is."
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What was his thoughts?
I mean, that pretty much that. He said it was kind of weird just to see it. Like he said, it was just weird, seeing it, and I mean, you'd have to ask him. I don't want to put my mouth, but
Gotcha.
I don't want to explain his thought process for. But yeah, yes. I mean, I'm not saying no, but
I guess I gotta ask him.
You would have to ask him. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see.
Got you. Okay. Suzette, did you have anything before I'm going into the next thing?
No, I was going to start into a next one. I was going to say, let's go ahead and get into Deathless.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, indeed. Let's go.
Go ahead. So I was wondering what happened with you, Chris. Why you go ghost on us?
Well, I wouldn't say I went ghost.
I didn't see you. I was like, where my boy at?
I've been involved with the project in the past. It's gone a few iterations.
A couple iterations, absolutely. Yeah, but three.
I did
3 of them.
Be involved with this latest one, but I was rejected. So I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Thomas, you rejected him?
Yeah. Let me elaborate on that.
Yeah. Come on.
Let me elaborate on that, because I know when we first. Well, it wasn't the very first time. The second time we went to try to produce the project. Where did we find you? We found you on, was it Craigslist? Where did we find you originally, Chris?
You found me through a fellow actor who was at one point in time supposed to be playing I'm blanking on his Blake. He was supposed to play Blake at one point in time, and then he first meet
Jason. Yeah. Talking about Jason, right?
No, not Jason. It was Daniel.
Daniel.
Ray.
Daniel Ray. I don't know why I'm having.
I'm not sure you ever filmed anything with him. I think he dropped out before production began with him involved, but he was cast for a period, and he referred me to you guys, and I'm not sure he ever actually showed up after that, but I stuck around for a while.
Got you. Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember we're sitting back because damn, how long was this? 10 years ago? Was this about 10 years ago?
I met you guys in 2013.
Oh, okay, almost. Sheesh. I will say this: when we were watching going through your discography, I should say, of your film, and Hootie was telling me, she was like, "Yo, this is our guy. This is our guy right here." You know, so we brought you on, and this was our second iteration. We had Patsy on board, et cetera, and I think this is when we got Bree on board as well. And we kind of, I think we got a lot of work done that iteration. We got a couple of episodes filmed. We actually have a whole trailer of it. And I think one of the things that I think ended up happening as we were filming, I mean, there was this creative differences. It happens. And, you know, we kind of disagreed, I guess, on the direction in which we should go with the project. And again, there was no, from my understanding, hard feelings. But I know the third iteration around, there was, you actually come on board, but the position that you wanted, it was a little, there was a complication there because we had somebody and then he wanted the position and I was a pimp in a hard place, like, how do I do it? Yeah. So that was the situation. I didn't necessarily reject him. It was just the fact that it was, I want to bring him on, and I get. He didn't want to come on as, you know, and I respect that. He didn't want to come on as a PA. He didn't, because he's been doing other shit. He just shouldn't have to come on as PA, and I get it. So I respect that. You know what I mean? So hopefully we might be able to get him on board in some capacity when it comes to season 2.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. Speaking about Deathless as well, what are your thoughts seeing it? Like, because I know I would always come to you and say, "Hey, man," but before it came out, what do you think, man? What are your thoughts on this? And when you finally saw it come out, comparative to what we had and where we were, like you said in 2013, what are your thoughts?
I was very impressed with how it turned out. You know, because I mean, I've been involved with several iterations. I've been familiar with the story, you know, and you know, and several, you know, revisions of the story, and yeah, I was very impressed, especially again considering, you know, the nature of the project. You know, a very ambitious project for, you know, young up and comers. You know, I'm assuming this was relatively low budget, no budget in that area. You know, and yeah, I was, you know, because it's like, yeah, this is the script I'm familiar with, and it's, you know, it's come to life, and I think it turned out well. In fact, in certain regards, you know, it was improved upon, you know, certain aspects I had you know, expressed issues with, you know, in earlier iterations, particularly concerning your character.
Oh yeah.
You know, I felt that he wasn't a pertinent enough character until too late in the series, but I feel, you know, this is in the script. But I feel like in the finished product, that's certainly been corrected. You certainly feel like a more prominent character than, you know, than how it read and how it was potentially turning out in earlier versions of it. And that, so which I'm happy with. I mean, you're intended to be the main character, be prominently, you know, shown on the show, you know. Shouldn't be outshined by the rest. Don't let them outshine you.
I will say this. Chris was the first one to talk to me about turning it into a movie. Yeah. And getting away from the series. He was like, let's condense it and let's turn it into a movie. My biggest pushback to that was I felt like that's basically the same thing you would have by turning novels or video games. There's so much information you would have to condense that I feel like it would lose the essence of itself, because we have to cut so much out to get it even down to an hour, 30 minutes, even 2 hours. We would have to cut so much out, you know, character development, et cetera, et cetera. But Chris didn't think we could do it. He thought that we could do it.
That's the thing. Do it, honestly.
I mean, it could be done. It could.
Yeah.
Could be done. You can tighten it up. You can.
You
story, you know, everything that's cut becomes lore.
Fair enough.
And so long as everybody involved in the set knows this backstory, they're going to be, you know, the story's going to play out with that in mind, you know. So it's, you know, it's going to come out all the richer for it, you know.
Fair enough.
You know.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Wasn't there you were working on a project?
Mm-hmm.
It was I think during the filming of when we were filming Deathless for the second time, I think it was about, hustlers and pimps. And can you elaborate a little bit on that? That was something interesting that you were working on. I know it's still in the back burner right now, but it was something that you were working on. Mm-hmm.
I'm still playing with that. That one's going under heavy revisions. Some of the scripts that I've shown you guys have gone over several revisions, and more or less like the Breathe one I mentioned before, like that one's gone over heavy revisions, but they're more or less to a point of like like having a finalized script that we can work with. That one, which at the time is titled To Die For, working title. It might be final title. We'll see.
To Die For. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, but I'm playing with that one. That one's I'm doing heavy revision on that one, but we entered production on that one. That one it just wasn't meant to be yet.
But you started production though. You actually got going on production. It was like Pimps and Prostitutes, right?
It wasn't working. It just not. It was like it just we ran into so many goddamn hurdles. It just wasn't working. It just and it became clear that this was it wasn't going to work out, and I wasn't going to be happy with how it turned out. I wasn't that happy with the footage that we did capture. So it was issues with the locations, issues with cast. Like biggest issue cast wise is we couldn't keep the main lead. We couldn't keep casting. Like every time we would cast them, they would drop out 2 weeks later, and we'd have to start the search again, and that happened several times. So
was there any reasonings for them dropping off? Did they not like the script, or did they just find that it went against their schedule? What do you think it was that you kept losing your characters like that?
It was different reasons. Some of them just kind of just an example of 2 reasons. One of them got casted, then a week later mentioned that they had gotten pregnant and weren't going to be able to do any of the physical stuff. There's action scenes and stuff. Like, okay, you could let us know when you were auditioning, or someone who just left town. Like they got cast, then a week later, hey, so I'm leaving town. Oh, okay.
You didn't know that a week ago?
Yeah. things like that, and it kept being things like that. We went through a few of them, and that in addition to I don't know, that was kind of a train wreck production, and it was it was too big, and we'll get to it at some point.
Wasn't Patsy casted in it as well? It was supposed to get like an arm cut off or something with a chainsaw. Something crazy she was telling me about. She was telling me something.
Yeah, she was supposed to get her hand cut off in it. I don't know if that aspect will stay in the new version of it. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, she was involved. There's a number of people involved from some of the projects we put together on. So, but yeah, like you said, it's on the back burner right now. It's not necessarily a priority project.
Got you.
So do you have a main project that you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm working primarily on like the internet stuff, the book stuff.
No surprise reveals.
Surprise.
I said no surprise reveals of anything cinematic you're working on.
Not at the moment.
Okay. I got you. One of the things that one of our friends, colleagues that we worked together with, I actually worked with him for a while. He was the original Jacob Blake for Deathless, Mr. Jason Simmons.
Yes.
Some of the things Jason Simmons, he wanted to do, and I was very interested. He wanted to do his own Star Trek or Star Wars type of film and things like that, and I was very excited about it. Do you still discuss things with Jason as far as maybe film and anything like that? Just give him a shout out.
No, we don't really. We don't really thing. Not recently. So.
Would you cast him in anything if you had anything? If you're working on anything, do you think he would be willing to get back into acting? Because I know that was a passion for him when we were, working together. Mm-hmm.
If I had a role that I thought he could do well, I'd be willing to reach out, see what he thought. Gotcha.
And let's speak about that as a director, and you've dealt with a lot of dealt with a lot of actors and things like that and so forth in your time. One of the places I want to go with you is that, what are your thoughts about the film industry in Tallahassee, Florida? You've been doing films in Tallahassee for a while now. What are your thoughts about the film industry there in Tallahassee? Tallahassee?
Well, like in what regard?
Just in general. I mean, do you think it's growing? Do you think it's becoming stagnant? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know if it's like maybe I haven't been involved with it for a number of years now, honestly. So the last films I made in Tallahassee were in 2018, and those were done with just very small crews of like people who I had already worked with. So I hadn't really done too much, beyond that there. So as far as the state of the the film scene in Tallahassee, I mean, I'm not really. I mean, I haven't lived in Tallahassee in a year now, so I'm not entirely sure of it.
Okay.
So,
do you miss it? Do you miss the film industry in Tallahassee? Do you miss being on projects? Do you miss any of that? It's been a while since you've been on camera or worked behind the camera.
I mean, I miss being on projects, but to a degree. I would yeah, I mean to a degree, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm kind of just just working on my own things these days. Just the book stuff. I don't have to worry about like getting everybody together and that sort of thing. And all the complications nowadays. So. I mean, but I'd love to at some point, get back into the groove.
Get back into it, yeah.
Yeah.
I know me and Suzette, and I remember this. This actually was a good time. When we first witnessed a little bit of your acting chops, me and Suzette got in the car and drove all. What was it, Georgia, Suzette, to watch him do the play?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To do a play. It was nice. That was good. How did you feel about that? Being on stage in front of a bunch of people and acting, which was a good play. I love plays, and I enjoyed what you and Patsy did as well. What were your thoughts about that experience?
Yeah, it was different. That's the first and to date only play I've yeah, I got that. Patsy's the one who actually got me that part, because I mean, she was involved first, and then people to fill out the cast, and so she thought that I would be a good fit for that. The director agreed, and gave me the part, and actually, like mentioned Jason Simmons, he was involved with it too. Him and both his wife and his daughter.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They played roles in that too. Like, so yeah, it was fun. It was definitely different, definitely interesting. You go out there and you rehearse, but then once the show goes on, you got one shot. And we certainly experienced that. Where someone would forget a line, and then you'd have to improvise in some regard, whether that just try to buy time for them, or someone maybe whispers it to them, or it happened to me in one case, one of the nights where I forgot one of my lines, and just another actor said it, and we kept moving along.
Yeah, that's how it works. The show must go on.
You can't say cut. Do another take. So it's different. I mean, I would say I prefer film. I prefer like the finished product, and just watching it, and this is what it is, versus you see a play, you see a play tonight, and then your friends see it tomorrow night. You saw the same show, but it's different. Different things happen, or there might be a different actor playing that role, or and we experienced that on this play too. Like we did 4 shows. I think it was 3 or 4, but they only recorded one of them. So they did film one of them, but in our lead actor, he played the role exactly the same on all the shows except for the one that was filmed, and then he chose the one that was filmed to start changing things up, and which threw some of the actors off, threw me off, and at least because he started improvising lines and that sort of thing in moments he wasn't supposed to. And so, but just give you an example is like, but the show must go on. We can't say, all right, no, you that again, that's not the line, or, and you're put on the spot, so it's like you're in front of an audience. So you just got to think of something right off the bat, okay, how do I respond to this? Do the best you can, so yeah, it's interesting, it's an experience.
Right.
Absolutely.
So are you still going to keep on doing your movie reviews? I'll be reading them all the time, trying to figure out if we can do a movie to watch.
I enjoy them as well.
When was the last time I did a movie review? I think it was
a while, bro.
I think it was my.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I think it was my end of year thing last year. My top 10 films.
People ain't showing my boy no respect. Ain't showing no respect when it comes to his opinions on these films, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I enjoy his critiques more than I see on. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I enjoy his reviews more than I enjoy the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just gonna keep it a stack.
Right, I do too. I read them.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I just got a little burnt out. I mean, you talk about film for so long. I guess maybe you got to take a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
I did admittedly get kind of put off by the direction that a lot of like online discourse had taken. Especially in recent, I've noticed a lot of film criticism hasn't exactly been honest. And
I agree.
Criticism has been more based on like the politics of a film as opposed to the content of a film, and that's, I don't know, it became very off-putting. So that just kind of put me off to just film criticism just in general. Plus, I don't know, the world's insane right now, and the world's very right now. At least in terms of like negative reviews, I've become more and more uncomfortable like putting out negative reviews.
Why?
So much negativity out there right now, and I want to just put something more positive out there. And I could write the more positive reviews too, I suppose. I don't know, haven't really had the heart for it recently.
But if it was trash juice, then damn it, the world needs to know it was trash juice. Okay.
Right. you could write.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I have actually years and years ago. I tried the whole film review thing, and actually, it might still be on Facebook. And if you go review it, it literally, if I remember correctly, literally came down to basically just me saying this was trash, this was garbage, this was
literally
decent.
Every movie Thomas put on there was garbage. Everything. There was not one thing he liked.
Oh man.
Now I will say this: me and Chris, we actually went and watched what was it? Interstellar like 3 times. We went to the movie theaters like 3 times to see that.
Outstanding film. It as a bar of intelligence for a while too. We'd be driving around town and somebody does something stupid. It was like, hey, we know that guy didn't get under Interstellar. He was lost.
Yes, those are good old days, man. It's the good old days, man. Me and you and Kim used to ride around. Oh man, yeah. It's and talk about film and madness. Absolutely. And again, I that's one of the things that I do miss the most when it comes to the Tallahassee film world, I should say. I met all you guys almost through film. And I miss the shenanigans. I miss chilling and watching film. I miss going to the movies with you guys. I miss putting together ragtag films to shoot silly things and so forth. I miss that stuff, man. And as we get older, I come to cherish those things even more. I enjoyed, putting on the cop suit and playing and breathe. I enjoyed, doing the Valentine's Day thing with Alice. Shout out to Alice Lizardi. I enjoyed, getting together and shooting the little haunted house thing that I shot at my job, and I just enjoying just hanging out and talking and going to the movies and just talking and so forth. I enjoyed a lot of those things. I kind of missed that aspect of it, and engaging with other filmmakers and things like that, talking about our ideas and dreams and things like that and so forth. And here we are on a goddamn podcast, reminiscing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. And if there is a way to be able to kind of bend time in some capacity, just kind of strip it and pull it open and whatever, to go walk those corridors again and redo it, God damn it, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't change anything. So,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't change a damn thing. So, like I said, I really enjoyed that stuff. But let's get into you were one of the few people that was able to go to Gotham City of all places and be on legitimate film set. Tell us about your experiences doing that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I was living in New York for a little bit and working on film sets up there. It is quite different up there in Tallahassee. There's a lot more people who like take it like a lot more seriously compared to Tallahassee, you know, and which, I mean, I mentioned that was one of my the first impressions I got was like, oh wow, it's, you know, like, I mean, there's people who take it seriously in Tallahassee, don't get me wrong, but it's like there's also, you know, a lot of people who's like kind of a hobby or something. It's like, oh, I could do that, but I could, you know, blow it off and, you know, do this instead. You know, like they didn't take it too seriously. Up there is like, no, this is for real for them just as much as it is for me. You know, and that was a very nice, you know, change of pace. Wasn't used to that. So just, you know, that's mentality wise, you know, and then like, you know, it's different working on a film set where it's like, you know, a truck pulls up and its entire truck full of equipment. You know, we're used to just, you know, we have our camera and we have our tripod and, you know, and that's about it. You know, we might, you know, have a light or two, you know, but they're I mean, half the day is, you know, unloading the whole truck of all the equipment and, you know, putting it all together. You know, it's just you know, it's a completely different ball game compared to what people just, for the most part, are doing down in Tallahassee. So it's, you know, it feels like, you know, like when you imagine film, you know, working on film, that's more or less what you envision. You know, so yeah.
Okay. What will your? Let me ask you this: what would you say are some of the pros and the cons for you working in your? What are some of the pros and the cons in your experience in doing film?
In regards to what?
It's in general, just in general, like you being a filmmaker. What are some of the pros and cons for Chris?
I guess the pros is that, you know, I have the you know, you have all these ideas in your head, and, you know, actually like seeing it come to life, come to fruition is, you know, satisfying. You know, you feel accomplished for doing so rather than just sitting there, you know, stuck with this idea, wishing you do something with it, but, you know, not doing anything. You know, it'll eat at you if you do an idea for long enough. So, you know, actually get the idea out there. You know, it's a nice, you know, it is a nice relief. You know, it's satisfying. And yeah, it's just creatively. I mean, I guess that's the case for just being a creative in general. You know, creative.
Absolutely.
You know, you just, you know, you got an idea, you got to get it out there. You know, you got to do something with it. You know, otherwise it's just gonna eat you. You know, I'd say, you know, that's one of the pros of it. I mean, cons. I mean, to an extent, yeah. I mean, you learn real quick how limited you are with film, especially when you're working with no money. And
yes.
I have this idea. I can do like a tenth of that idea, if that.
Tell me about it.
I have experienced that on pretty much every project I've been on. You know, where, you know, you have the idea, but, you know, well, here's the money we're working with. Oh, okay, well, here's what we do, you know. So you know, sometimes you get what you get, and, you know, sometimes you're pleased with it, sometimes you're not. You know, I was, despite all the like the Red Scarf, you know, we had to change quite a bit because, you know, we just didn't have access to a lot of you know, like locations and people that we wanted for some of the aspects of the original script, you know. So we had to just, you know, change it a little bit and, you know, make it work with fewer people, you know, different locations than intended. And I'm still pleased with how that one turned out, you know, despite the changes. But then, you know, Dead Eye 4, as we mentioned, where it's like we filmed some of the footage, and I just, you know, I wasn't happy with how it was turning out. You know, it wasn't working for me, and you know, if we kept going with it, I would have just not been even happy with it. You know, so that was an example of like, yeah, this isn't working. Now's not the time for this. You know, we got to put this on the back burner. We'll get back to it at some point. You know, when, you know, see if we can do a better job at some point. You know.
Okay. Well, when you say that, I know we asked you about, you know, you said your favorite film experience was The Red Scarf. What would you say was your like worst experience in a project that you dealt with?
Oh, I'm not gonna name names, but there's a project.
Yeah, you can name names. Yeah.
Where there's a project I worked on in New York where, God, I hope it sees the light of day. Because I swear this had to have been the experience of working on The Room. You know, it was insane. Yeah, I mean, it was on the one hand it was bad, but on the other, so fascinatingly bad that it's.
When you say bad, was it just like the storyline, or just how everybody was? Was it more unprofessional, in your opinion, or what?
Oh, it was
what type of shit show was it?
It was the incompetence of it.
Okay.
You know, we would film a scene. We were just to give you an example. We'd film a scene where you're filming a scene. You move the camera and you get different angles, right? Literally every single camera angle. You know, every time we moved the camera to a different angle, they would run through the whole scene again, but they would play the scene completely. Like they would incorporate different aspects. Like they would different things physically. They would incorporate different props, you know, and I'm not talking like small things. I'm talking like in take, like one of the characters is just wearing a t-shirt, but in the other take, you know, from a different angle, they do run through the whole scene, but in this one they put on like a shirt, you know, like a jacket over their shirt, and they would keep, or they would say different lines. They would, like, you know, she'd like brush his hair back or something, you know. It's like they would do different actions and you know, utilize, and they did it in such a way where it's like you can't edit together. Whoever edited that project, they have to choose one of those long takes, and that's they have no options to cut anything, because literally every other angle you could cut to, they're going to look different and be doing different things. Like they're where their body placement is completely, like, not a little bit, it's like it's radically different. What they're wearing is radically different, and this was not by design. This was just design, and I was just a PA on that set. You know, they had a script supervisor who just let it all fly.
Yeah,
you know, just didn't catch.
Like he didn't give a shit.
None of that. It was just a scene of nothing but continuity errors, and they didn't call it. But that's just an example. I mean, just every single shot was, you know, craziness like that. You know, and it was sort of bonkers. But on the same hand, though, is like, if this comes to light, this has every potential to be like, one of those awfully bad sorts of projects. And we'll see. I kind of hope it comes out sometime. I want to see it.
Well, if you get it, you need to send it to us so we can laugh too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Moving on to some of Hollywood. What are your thoughts of Hollywood investing so much money in the remakes?
I don't know. I'm tired of the remake. I mean, everybody's saying the same thing. Everyone's tired of, everyone's tired of the remake reboots, the soft reboots, the sequels. It's like, there are original ideas out there. Just not being greenlit or something. But I mean,
they're afraid to take the risk. It's like they feel like, in my opinion, I think they feel like by doing reboots, it's safe. because they have that group of people that like the original that may come out for the reboot, but they can't be that sure if you're taking a brand new idea if people are going to show up, especially in today's times. So I think it's all about risk. They're just afraid to make certain leaps, especially when it comes to money, because God knows Hollywood is not the same. They're not making all the money they used to. This isn't the mid 2000s, et cetera, et cetera. They're not making all the money they're used to making. So I'm wondering if that's what's stifling that creativity and being able to,
But I mean, absolutely. We talked about satisfied creatively. I see how that could be satisfying. Just working on your fifth reboot. Telling the same story over and over and over again.
Is this new Batman that's coming out? Is that a reboot, a retelling? Is that what? I don't understand about the trailer. I'm not sure where that is going.
You talking about the one with Robert Pattinson?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's just supposed to be its own thing.
Isn't he supposed to be like Batman Beyond or something?
I mean, I don't know exactly for sure. I'm not that interested. I mean, I like Pattinson as an actor. I'm just kind of I'm with the non-stop nature of just we're going to reboot the same thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is in the past decade. How many Batman iterations have we had? We had Nolan Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman. We've had, the Joker, which is, it involves the Wayne family. It's a Batman story. Now we have Robert Pattinson, in the movies. That's cinematically in the past decade, we've had 4 different Batmans. I'm Batmaned out. I'm not even a little. It looks bad.
Are you Halloween out too? Because we got this new Halloween Kills, the 30th movie they got of this series.
I'm not interested in that either.
I'm a horror connoisseur and I'm not interested.
That's another trend that I'm not a big fan of. The whole we're going to do another sequel that ignores all the previous sequels.
Right.
Is what, Chucky?
Yeah, which is what the last Halloween did. Halloween, the sequel to the movie Halloween. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that trend either, and I honestly, I wasn't a big fan of that movie either, which doesn't add to me not being too interested in the sequel. I don't know.
Did you go ahead? Oh, no. I will say, did you guys get a chance to see the remake of the Chucky movie? It had nothing to do with the old ones. It was just this new storyline where Chucky was able to control other machines and everything else like that. And the reason he became evil was because he was watching bad stuff on television.
I don't like doll movies. I don't like dolls, so no, I didn't watch it.
So I heard they do the remake of the original ones, or just I don't know what the fuck they did, but it was on. I think it's on Sci-Fi Channel's series, Chucky series. I'm like, see, Chucky goes to school, just goofy stuff. I'm like, yo, who is in the writing rooms of these things? Who is greenlighting this stuff, man? Jesus Christ. They get around. It really does. I really do believe that a majority of Hollywood is either on cocaine or heroin when they're in the writing rooms.
I mean, you might.
Yeah. So I just sit back and I'm like, who is greenlighting some of this stuff? So, again, I even, and I understand this is a consensus that is well known. Game of Thrones final season was not the greatest. We know. We get it. The writers didn't do that. They did not do a very good job. Now I'm hearing, rumblings in the shadows that there is a prequel or a spin-off coming. Allegedly, the word was the first one they presented to HBO was so ridiculous. They said, get the shit out of my office. We're not greenlighting this. So I guess they went back to the drawing boards, but they're working on something right now, like a prequel and things like that. And honestly, ever since Game of Thrones, not just HBO, all these networks were looking for something to fill that void that Game of Thrones left. And I don't know if there's, people thought it was going to be The Witcher, which I thought was actually really good because I was very skeptical and very nervous about how the director was going to portray The Witcher in those books. And I will say I was pleasantly surprised and happy with the direction that she chose to go. And you know, that's one of the things that I always have issues with, especially when it comes to, you know, games and that I hold dear, or you know, certain, you know, cinema that I hold dear that's being brought to the big screen under Netflix and things like that, or other other sites like the CW or things like that. I'm always nervous. You know, I don't know if you guys saw, you know, what they did with the Powerpuff Girls.
I heard something about
Only saw commercials, didn't watch it.
It hurt me. It hurt me. And I'm like, yo, the people, I wonder if the people that originally created the show, that they had anything to say about how they were going, how it was being produced. Because I don't mind you know, kind of bringing it into the 21st century, but to the point to where the characters weren't even the characters. And I was like, yeah, like, because you guys remember when all of us are around the same age group where we remember the original Rugrats.
Yeah.
I used to love the Rugrats. That was one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows besides Doug. I love me some goddamn Doug. Doug Funny was my guy.
Skeeter.
But when we all watched the Rugrats and we were kind of like, you know, they never grow up. They're always the same age. Then All Grown Up came out. To be fair, I look back on All Grown Up and I say that I like it more now than I did it back originally. And because now that I've seen a clip of where they're going now with the 3D version of the new Rugrats.
Wait, there's a 3D version of Rugrats coming out?
Yes, look up the new 2021 or 2020 Rugrats. Like, Google it or YouTube it. It looks horrible.
No, it's just, I'm good, Thomas. It sounds disrespectful.
Oh, it absolutely is. It reminds me of, you know, and then everybody started making memes about everybody. You know, Steve came back from Blue's Clues.
Okay, that was beautiful. Right. That was beautiful.
Yes, but Steve, someone put a meme out and said, Steve, we lost. Where were you? You weren't there, Steve. You weren't there. Because shit has really hit the fan. Okay? My childhood is being butchered in front of our eyes. Okay? And you got out while the getting was good. I don't blame you. You saw where this was going. You said, you know what? I'm going to college to do cocaine like everybody else. I gotta get out of here. But you know, I enjoy remembering or reminiscing about some of the old programs and things like that. You know what? I still even enjoy Wonder Years. I was a Wonder Years guy. It is what it is. I enjoyed it. Came on after everything else, Nick at Night. What would you do if I sang? I was there watching right in my bed on my little box TV that I had back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, things have changed so dramatically, and some would say for the better, some would say for not for the best. You know, and I like to say it's a little bit in between. For example, I know everybody. I'm assuming everybody here has seen the new Matrix trailer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna brace yourself. Take a minute to think about this. Let that sink in.
Okay.
Look. You know what?
Uh-oh.
You know what? God bless HBO Max. Because I don't know if I would have went to the movie theaters and saw it. I'm just going to keep it a stack. Because somebody has to explain to me, first of all, what happened to Lawrence Fishburne?
Oh yeah, right. Right. That was my first thought. Where is he in that trailer?
And no, you know what the rumor on the street was? And this is how fucked up it is. This is how fucked up it is. He said nobody asked him. I was like, weren't you just in John Wick 3? You were like this in the last 3 movies. You had to know he was filming that.
I forget. It's been a while since I've seen it. He didn't die in the third one, did he?
No,
I don't remember
he
him.
was there.
No, I think he was there. I think he survived.
Yeah, he was there holding
I
Jada Pinkett,
so.
I think.
Like, unless I'm misremembering, I don't remember him dying. So that was why I was wondering, watching the trailer. I was like, did Morpheus die? Why is he not here?
Well, the thing about it, some of the rumors that are going on, and people are, doing their little thought process of what they think is going to happen. Because remember, Neo was supposed to allegedly killed, at the end of it. They did the whole Jesus thing, I think what ended up happening is after he was destroyed, I guess in the real world, he was re-uploaded into the Matrix. That's what I'm assuming the direction they're going to go. Because Trinity is there as well. Because Trinity got horribly impaled. Okay, and I will say this, and I've said this before, Matrix has one of the most underrated romances in cinema. People be sleeping on the romance in the Matrix, okay? Shit was great. It was great. So,
it's because the Matrix was boring. That's why it was underrated.
You didn't like the Matrix?
I fell asleep through all 3 of them.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I did. With the whole family trying to, and then watched it again, fell back asleep. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh, no.
So I will not be with y'all watching this last one because I'll fall asleep. I'm not doing it.
To be fair, that your reaction to the Matrix is my reaction to James Bond. So I will not be watching the James Bond that's coming out because that also.
Yo, look, listen, Daniel Craig. Listen, sir, I'm a fan of yours. I like Daniel Craig, but Quantum Solace wasn't feeling that, my man. I'm sorry, I wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it, brother. And I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And you know what? And the sad part about it is I like assassin type undercover movies. One of my favorite franchises is the Bourne franchise. Except the one with my boy in it, Hawkeye. What's his name?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner. And I like Jeremy Renner. I like him. I think what bothered me the most about that whole movie with him, I thought they were going to incorporate him in the last movie, and they didn't. So it was just a waste of time. It was a throwaway. It's just a waste of time. So that's one of the reasons why I think that has a bad taste in my mouth. Because again, it didn't have Matt Damon in it. And I had almost nothing to do with the story almost. So, I like this time. That's why I like the American Assassin. I did enjoy American Assassin. I like those type of movies in general. And when I watched the Matrix trailer and saw where I think they're going, I always thought that it was very, very interesting that I think they're going to try to start all over. Because allegedly, because Neo died, Trinity died. They don't, obviously from the trailer, they don't know each other. This whole movie is probably going to be about him trying to do what? Get his memory back, recognize he's the one. So I'm just sitting back like, okay. Because again, someone told me, I don't know if you guys are a fan of the gentleman called Film Theory. He's a YouTube guy. Mm-hmm. And he talked about one of the theories that came with the Matrix was the whole time it wasn't Neo the whole time. It was actually Agent Smith. And he backed it up with a lot of facts. One of them being saying that you had to be born, in order to be the one, you had to be born in the real world, which Neo wasn't. He was plugged up to a pod. And one of the other things they said that one of the criteria of being the one was it was something about being deleted or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. I'm sorry, but I know he brought up the aspect where he said, Agent Smith said, I knew what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't compelled not to. And some people even think that the Oracle was actually the nefarious one, because remember at the very end of it, the architect said you're playing a very dangerous game. And that dangerous game was lying to Neo and Morpheus and everybody the entire time about who the one actually was. Because they said that one of the big things that he said that the one would be able to change the Matrix into what they see fit. Neo really didn't do that. Yeah, he could fly around, but he really didn't do that. The only person that actually changed the Matrix in their image was who? Agent Smith. By the end of it, he was the one that literally changed the Matrix to what he saw fit, and so it was a good theory. He made a lot of good points, but it is what it is. One of the things that I am very excited about that I will say, and I hope Suzette will finish it because of this. I heard there was Henry Cavill, and I love Henry Cavill. I think he's a great actor. He was caught on Instagram reading a script for Mass Effect.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mass Effect. Y'all know how I feel about that franchise.
Well, I know.
It's how very near and dear to my heart.
Remember your training.
And I know Suzette hasn't finished the franchise, and she needs to. I need her to finish it.
I got you.
So he's allegedly they caught. So it was ridiculous. He was reading a script on his Instagram, and the internet detectives, they say cropped it and zoomed in and started reading. It was talking about the Geth, the Citadel, all Mass Effect stuff. So, and if he's in it, you already know he's going to be Commander Shepard.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was going to be the issue of contention, because remember in Mass Effect, Shepard can literally be a guy or a girl. So I thought it was going to be. I told people why it would never come out. I said because there'll be too much pressure on who is going to be the Shepard, whether the Shepard is going to be male or female. They'll be stuck in development hell over that. So I didn't think they'll get past it. But it looks like they're moving forward, because they spoke about a Mass Effect movie years ago, way when Part 3 came out, because it was at the top of the hype, So that's it died down because the reviews of Part 3, people were upset because of the ending, and people get it confused. The third game was actually really good. It was the fact that the ending people were very, very disappointed in, and I can understand, because at all the build up, this is what you leave us with. I get it, but EA makes it very difficult for game developers to really, really blossom in a way that I feel like they should be able to. They're known as the Grim Reaper of franchises. They sent a lot of franchises to an early grave. With that being said, back to the Hollywood aspect of it. Chris, if you were a part of what we consider mainstream Hollywood, okay? If you were Scorsese or you were in his position, how would you view your career? Would you view your career to try to build and create thought-provoking or entertaining projects? Or would you look at it from a perspective of, I'm just trying to get paid so I can live good?
Oh, I'd absolutely just I'd use it to make all the projects that I want to make. Really, all the ideas that I have. I was now courses. Now I have the finances to do it. Yeah, let's bring these projects to life. I would absolutely view it from a creative aspect. Whether we're talking about thought-provoking projects or just something that's fun, absolutely, that's how I'd approach it. That's how I'd ideally approach it, rather than just a paycheck.
How would you deal with the criticism that would be sure to follow? Because they're gonna talk their shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's hard to say right now. I guess we'll see. I mean, knows. I mean, I genuinely think one of the best filmmakers out there right now is Zack Snyder, and yet we see what he gets criticism wise. Like, I don't think the dude deserves it. I mean, sure.
Wait, what was his criticism?
You haven't seen it? He's one of the most hated filmmakers on there. I mean, he has a lot of fans, but he's probably got just as many, at least vocally, just as many haters out there. People hate his guts.
Why? What did he do?
Oh, he's a great guy, but people just hate his films. They just they don't like his style. They don't like his approach. They think he's too dark and too they think he's lacking in humanity and all. I think his films are great. I think he seems like a chill guy, and he's a fantastic filmmaker. I love his films. I think he's one of the best working filmmakers today. I could critique them. They're not flawless, but the level of hate he gets,
well, in comparison, what are your thoughts of Jt Abrams?
I mean, he's hit or miss. I enjoy some of his films. Not so much others. like I don't hate the guy, but my biggest criticism of his was that I feel like he's too interested in making fan projects as opposed to, like whether we're talking Star Wars, Star Trek, it feels more like a fan project that had, studio backing behind it, as opposed to like somebody wanting to make, this is either their interpretation of this film, or like this is their baby. This is the film I want to make. It's just it seems like it's a bit too much of like watching a fanboy and Star Wars. That would be the biggest criticism of his. Um, and I've heard that he can't, wrap. He's a great, like he can start a story, but has a hard time wrapping up a story. That's why, like, I didn't watch the last Star Wars, so I don't really. I know what happens in it, but I didn't see it myself, so I'm not gonna judge it. But I've heard mixed reactions.
Mixed, please.
Yeah.
Do you think Michael Bay gets undue hate?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't love all his films, but I think, I think they're a blast. And I think, the types of films he makes, I mean, here's the thing. He has to do let's say Transformers. He has to film all that stuff. Just like those robots aren't there.
Yeah.
Live action stuff. He has to film that just imagining that all those robots and such are there.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to take, so he has to film all the footage, with just using his imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And then takes that film and then incorporates his imagination and, has to, pray that he filmed it right. Whereas, imagination comes to life. It's like, that's not an easy thing. And not to mention, it's like, I don't know. I think his films are highly entertaining. I think, he's one of those filmmakers too, where it's like, he has a very distinct style where it's like, you're watching one of his movies, you're watching one of his movies.
Yeah.
And, not everyone can, pull that off necessarily, for better or worse. But I mean, I think he, again, he's one of those, like, sure, you can have valid criticism against him, but I don't think his films are, for the most part, nearly as awful as a lot of people would, say about him,
Mm-hmm. I you know what? One of his, I think, most underrated films that I thoroughly enjoy is the movie The Island. I really enjoyed that movie. To this day, I can watch that movie. I really enjoyed that movie. People, I think, have issues with, they feel like he tries to fill out a lot of his movie with undue and unneeded destruction, chaos, and debauchery. I honestly feel that Bad Boys 3 missed him, because Bad Boys 3, as long as it took for Bad Boys 3 to come out, I did not care for Bad Boys 3. I thought the story was garbage. I'm just going to keep it a stack. I thought the story was garbage. Compared to the first two, the story was garbage, and it really did miss, I think, Michael Bay's direction. Yes, it didn't have the entire freeway car chase where they're launching cars at people. Yes, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But there was something about Michael Bay when he would listen. You're going to be entertained when you go watch a Michael Bay movie. I appreciate him for that as well. But who would you say is your favorite director?
I mentioned Zack Snyder. I mean, I like Nicholas Winding Refn. He's up there for me.
Nolan?
I really like George Lucas. I wish he did more outside Star Wars. I mean, because he's done like 2 films other than Star Wars, and I thought they were outstanding. I think American Graffiti is phenomenal, and I would have loved. It's such a unique film too. I would have loved to see more of what he had to offer outside of Star Wars, and I love his Star Wars films he's done. Like, I'm a fan of the prequels. The original's a classic. And he doesn't have a long list of movies that he's directed, but of the several of his movies land on my all-time favorites list. I would have loved to see more what he had to do. I think he found a more comfortable fit as like a producer, but I would have liked to see more of him as a director. Really.
What about Christopher Nolan?
Oh, I love Nolan. I think he's great.
He has to explain to me, because listen, I love Nolan as well, but someone has to explain to me Tenet.
Yeah,
Tenet. I turned it off. I'm watching this And I'm like, let's get this hell out of here. I turned the shit off. I'm like, yo, this shit is stupid. I couldn't get into it.
I could get that to an extent. Did you not finish it?
No, never finished it.
Oh, no. It's not his strongest film, but here's my thing about Tenet. This is one of the things I appreciate about Tenet. In an era in which so many films come out where just it feels like they're treating the audience like just absolute idiots. They have no respect for the audience's intelligence, and that's one of the things that pisses me off most about a lot of modern films, is that they actively treat their audiences like idiots. They hold the audience's hand. They want to, all the things where it's like there's no subtlety anymore. They just, they have to, point out, see the things. Like, here's the thing about Tenet that I appreciate. It does not hold its audience's hand one bit. It just goes, and it goes for it, and it expects the audience. It expects the audience will keep up, and if you aren't, okay, well, maybe you'll catch up along the way, but we're just going to keep going, and by the end, you should more or less have an idea of what's going on here, but you might get lost along the way, but it's just going to tell its story, and it's going to respect you enough to be able to keep up. And if you reach the end and you're still confused, well, I don't know, turn to your friend side and ask them, hey, what was that about? But I appreciate it. Because now is so rare. It feels like it's so rare that we get movies that actually expect the audience to engage, to keep up with it. It's especially if you're gonna tell something complex, there's something satisfying about just keeping up with a movie and just the movie allowing the audience the opportunity to fit the pieces together. It presents you almost with a puzzle, and it's you get to fit the pieces together and see, if you figure, or if it all comes together in the end. I like that, and so Tenet's not my favorite film of his. It is kind of a cold movie. It's the characters aren't the most, it's not his most compelling character work, especially compared to films past. But I mean, I appreciate it more so than I like it, So it's a movie where it's you're not going to see me on it, because it's at least it's doing something that I wish more films would do, and that it is respecting my intelligence. It's not treating me like an idiot,
Fair enough. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay.
Before we leave, I wanted to get Suzette's opinion as well. What would you consider your favorite movie, Suzette?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Go to Chris first.
Okay.
I guess your audience won't know. You two should probably know. Mm-hmm. My favorite movie is Frozen.
That's true. That's true. But you said wait. Would you say Frozen 2 was better than 1?
I think Frozen. Oh, I absolutely think Frozen 2 is better. But I mean, I would still probably say Frozen's my favorite of the two, just because it goes to certain places that the second one just is not able to, just on an emotional level, on a deeper level, But yeah, I love that movie. I love everything about it.
Remember, you're a huge fan of the Frozen.
Not a perfect movie. It has flaws, but I love it despite its flaws. And I think flaws just kind of it's a movie about broken people. It's about very flawed people, and there's a certain charm in there, being obvious flaws in a movie that centers around obviously flawed individuals.
Would your number 2 be Inside? Was it Inside Out? Because I know you really enjoyed that movie as well.
That movie, that wouldn't be anywhere near my all-time favorites list.
Okay, gotcha.
Inside Out as well. I'm a fan of that one. Yeah.
What about you, Sue?
Well, I think mine all time is The Lion King. Always has been, always will be.
So we're talking about Disney movies. Okay. I can dig that. I mean, I would say we're talking about Disney movies. My all-time favorite Disney movie still has to be the Goofy movie with Maximilian. I loved the music in that movie. I loved it. I related to it when I was as a young kid. Crushing over a girl that I thought was way out of my league. I related to that. When it comes, my second favorite one, I would still say Mulan. I love the music of Mulan. I really enjoyed Mulan a whole lot. Eddie Murphy really skyrocketed that movie, in my opinion. I thought the cast and characters were great. And unfortunately, Disney has failed to capture that magic again with any of their newer releases. Lion King's up there as well. But when it comes to regular,
did you see the new Mulan?
I refused.
Okay.
I absolutely the reviews were enough for me.
Once they said Mushu was not going to be in it, I said, forget this. Nobody wants to listen to an original. You can get Mushu in there, then they could have done this one that they did later. So I didn't care for it either. I wasn't watching it.
Also, whole fact. When it comes to favorite movies, though, I would have to say, and Chris probably already knows this, like, I haven't felt the same way about another movie in a long time, and that was Interstellar. That's still right up there with one of my favorite movies of all time. I did really enjoy, I will say that, coming into a close second, I will say, is the original Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. Okay. I really enjoyed that movie. I like darker stories anyways, as y'all know. So it was a psychological horror. Who's that? Are you familiar with that?
Interstellar?
No, Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher.
I've seen the covers of it, but I've never watched it. No.
You should check it out. It's really good.
I think about it.
It's not a horror movie. It's a psychological.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's not a horror movie. One of my other movies that I really liked and I enjoyed and I related to a whole lot too was, and I'm not sure if Chris you've seen this one, but maybe you've had The Girl Next Door.
I don't think I've seen that. No.
Check it out. It's one of those last. It came out around the time, I think we were both in high school at the time, and it came out around the time where those type of movies like She's Out of My League and movies along those, American Pie, along those kind of things, Euro Trip, et cetera. But it's different. It's the synopsis of that movie is about a young man there. He's about to graduate. He's a virgin. He's a senior year of school, and he's been studying, working really hard to make sure he gets into a good college. But he also wants to have a girlfriend and get laid. And a girl ends up moving next door that he finds absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Come to find out, she's a porn star or an ex-porn star. And I thought the story was really cute, especially the way I would implore you guys to check it out. It's still funny to this day. And one of my favorite, I can't remember his name, is he's hilarious. Well, he's a co-star of The Gentleman. And the guy, the main character, what is his name? You'll see him, you'll know exactly who he is because he's been in other movies afterwards. But I thought he was great in the movie. I think it's a really good coming of age story. And which is why I admire Superbad as well. I admire Superbad a whole lot as well because again, I related to that aspect as well, being those type of guys, trying to fit in, be cool, and join those social circles and so forth like that. And we haven't really got anything like that anymore. I think it's because people have moved on, and the people in the bracket of people that like that kind of stuff are older now. So people coming up now.
There was kind of a movie a few years ago, sort of in that. What was it called? Like Good Boys or something?
Good Boys, yes.
Yeah, it was
Good Boys. Yeah. Was it Good Boys? Yeah, Good Boys. Yeah, Good Boys. I think it was. Yes, and that one didn't hit. It didn't hit to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was great. I mean, yeah, those types of movies, they do seem like they are fewer and further between. Movies of that variety.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, like I said, I would implore you guys to go check that out. And Chris, really quick before we go, we got to get up out of here. I know it's getting late. Didn't you watch The OC with me?
No. I mean, there's been times I'd be at your house and it'd be on, but we never sat down and watched it.
OC.
Yes, indeed. Me and Sue got to finish it, man. We got to finish it. That's my show. It's on HBO Max. Thank God for Sue. It's on HBO Max, and I'd be still watching it to this day. It's great. It's great. It was before its time. Well, let's wrap up. Let's get some closing remarks. Chris, thank you for coming out and participating, man. It's been fun. It's been cool. I want to give you a chance to, give your platform a shout out. Shout out your Twitter, your Instagram if you have one. Your Ninja Cat series. Go ahead and shout that stuff out for the people to know where to find it.
Look my stuff up, velcrotheninjacat.com. Cat spelled with a K. If you go on YouTube, you could, type in my name. You'll find all my short films and such. Yeah, I mean, that's more or less all I got to promote.
All righty. Thank you guys. Chris Widdop, thank you guys for coming. It's been great. You guys take it easy. Thank you so much, Sue, for always being there. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Y'all take care, okay?
All righty.
See you later. Let's go ahead and close.